It's good to welcome Katie Ferrara on this podcast. She is a musician and singer-songwriter based in Los Angeles, California. Katie,
Yes,
how's it going?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for joining the show.
Yeah.
I've had a pretty long day, so yeah. So tell me, I believe I know you from a musician friend, Lucien Lemaire. So how did you guys know each other?
Lucy and we've collaborated on several projects. We did a cover of um, Ribbons and Bows by Casey Musgraves about 2 years ago. And we also collaborated on some ukulele tutorials. And we've done shows in LA. So we've known each other for quite some time.
Okay. Yeah. I believe I saw one of your Christmas ukulele tutorials.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember which one was that, but right. So
Mm.
how is the music scene in LA right now?
The music scene, what do you mean by that question? Like,
So,
can you just elaborate a little bit more?
like how do you find it?
Um, like, am I enjoying it? Is it
Yeah,
like,
basically.
um, I would say it's changed a lot over the years. I've been doing music for about 10 years now, and the one thing I've noticed is that musicians tend to stay here, for 2 or 3 years to see if LA is a right fit for them. And then they move on to another city or they go on tour. Um, I feel that COVID has definitely changed the landscape of the city. Many people that were playing here moved to other cities, and there's always new musicians coming in. And I feel that the style of music that's very popular right now is probably folk and country. About 5 years ago, I would have said R&B and soul is popular, but I feel like Nashville has moved to LA in some ways.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something that you plan to do as well, to move on to different cities, or are you planning to stay here?
I was born in Los Angeles, so I will always have a home base here in the city. I do love to travel. I love touring, and I think it's incredibly important as an artist to play in different markets. So I definitely see myself playing in more cities in California, maybe going to the East Coast, and definitely going back to Europe if I can. Um, I just feel that LA is the type of city that you want to be in to meet collaborators. And I'm very happy playing my music here, a couple times a year for my LA fan base.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So when were you in Europe last?
I was in Europe last July. I was in Austria and I performed at a festival called the Plaster Spectacle. It's a theater arts festival and international music festival. There were like 100 different artists from countries all over the world. And I attended as a solo artist. I came with one of my best friends from school, and we made a whole tour out of the uh, the festival. So I played for 3 days. I played 9 shows within 3 days, and the festival stationed me in different parts of Linz, which was the city, and I performed for different crowds. There were people from the city and other parts of Austria, and all my songs. I performed my original music as well as a few of my favorite covers, and I used my loop pedal. I told stories between the songs, and it was just so wonderful connecting with people from a different culture, from a different country, and just sharing what I do in LA, which is busk and write my original songs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I lived in Austria for a year, although I mostly stayed in Vienna.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you have a chance to go to Europe again, where would you go first?
I would love to go to Italy and I'd love to go to Spain. I haven't been there yet, and that's definitely on my bucket list. I'd love to go to Ireland as well. I saw that on your Instagram that you're based in Austria, or are you where are you now?
Oh, I was in Austria, but now I'm now in Hungary.
You're in
Budapest.
Hungary now.
Yeah.
Okay. So my best friend that I went to Austria with last year, her family's Hungarian. So after the festival, she went to Budapest and she spent time with her family there. I definitely love to visit Hungary as well, but Spain is at the top of my list.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love to visit Spain too, and Rome, of course.
Rome, yes.
Mhm. So, how would you describe the Katie Ferrara sound?
My sound is a blend of folk and pop influences. It's definitely a very inspiring, calming type of music. I like to write about topics related to personal growth and self-improvement. Yeah, I consider myself a very spiritual person, so when I write songs, I like to write songs about things that I discover, and I also feel like my music, it's healing. I would say that that's the one takeaway that a lot of my fans tell me is that they just feel like my songs they have a message of hope and positivity, and I think that's definitely something that sets my original music apart from a lot of other music in the genre. I tend to write about that topic specifically. I do write a lot of love songs and um, you know songs related to relationships, but I don't know. I think that my music, if anything, I hope that it makes people feel like they can be themselves.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, tell me about your latest song, which is Bloom.
yeah. So Bloom is a song that I wrote it was a few years ago, and it's one of the many songs that I compiled together for a full-length album, which I'll be putting out later this year. And the song, it was inspired by um, experiences that I had. I was struggling with my self-confidence, and I was feeling like I really wanted to tell myself that, it's it's okay. You can put yourself out there, and it was more of like an affirmation song to remind myself that, like, I have all the tools in my toolbox to put myself out into the world, and I I feel like by singing that song, it was just a reminder of the power that I have within myself um to just be me. And I also feel like, well, people relate to can I hope they relate to that, because I had a lot of experiences growing up. I've been doing a lot of inner work on myself, and experiences in school where I was bullied, and that had a big impact on my self-confidence. Experiences within the music scene in Los Angeles, being excluded from certain things, you know, things in my own family and my relationships where I felt like I had to shrink myself. And I wanted to write a song that was a reminder that I don't have to do that, that it's okay for me to show up as my authentic self. And I think in a lot of social settings, it's difficult to do that, um, because you've had a bad experience. And I wanted to write a song about just overcoming that negative experience and experiencing life from your best self. if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. I'm glad I got to
Thank
hear it
you.
before doing the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you mentioned being a spiritual person. So, where do you believe your spirituality come from?
That's a good question. I didn't grow up with religion, and I mostly grew up like feeling that I wanted to be connected to the people around me, and I think also in Los Angeles there's there's a lot of disconnect. We've got a homeless population here. We've got people who come from all over the world looking for a sense of connection. And I think my my experiences growing up here made me feel like, well, I wanted to do something. I really want to find ways to bring people together. And I think, if anything, music is my spirituality. I know a lot of musicians, they say that, music is their way of bringing people together. It's my way of, learning about other people and expressing myself, and that's where that connection comes from. I just feel that um, my spirituality comes from, I think, my early experiences growing up in the city.
Mhm. Yeah. What is LA like religiously? Do you know?
There's a lot of different di different places and religions here. We've got like Christianity, we've got Buddhism, Judaism, uh, Islam, every religion you can think of, New Age religions. It's a very diverse city.
I see. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. So, who do you believe are the most spiritual musicians? At least the one that you've come across.
that's a good question. I mean, I think there's a difference between spirituality and religious musicians. And similarities, of course. I don't think you necessarily need to be religious to be a spiritual person. I think that can exist outside organized religion. I mean, I would say a lot of like the songwriters from, the 70s, 60s, 70s, they were probably pretty spiritual. I'm trying to think of like current artists that I like, because I would say like, Joan Baez, she's one of my influences. I mean, she writes about a lot of social issues. I would say uh what is it? Uh, it'll come back to me. I'm trying to think of some artist names, but I, I think a lot of artists in general are just spiritual in the way that they connect to other people.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Bob Dylan is quite
Bob
spiritual.
Dylan.
Um,
Yeah.
he has a bunch of albums that he made while he became like a born again Christian.
Hmm.
Old Train Coming is the most notable, and he has the song right, "God Save Somebody." That's one of his best in the Christian period.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Joni Mitchell as well. I think
Mhm.
she writes about certain, both sides now. That's
Yeah, sure,
about life.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like growing up in LA?
In LA, well, I'm constantly surrounded by billboards, lots of advertisements. Like right now, I'm in the Glendale Galleria. I know it's such a weird place for an interview. I think there's a lot of advertising. Growing up here, everybody wants to be an actor, an actress. They want to go into entertainment, but also it's just like any other city. It's just a lot more commercial, and there's lots of traffic. People drive cars everywhere. The freeways are often packed. You can't go anywhere. from the hours of like 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. If you want to go anywhere in the city, you have to pick one location. So I'm based on the east side. If somebody asked me to meet them on the west side, I have to plan my entire day around travel. As a musician here, I actually prefer to play outside of the city because sometimes it'll take me like 2 hours to get to Santa Monica, for example. If I'm on the east side, if I go during rush hour traffic, it'll take me that long. If I play in Orange County or in Long Beach, it'll only take me an hour to get down there. So sometimes it's nice. Or if I play in San Diego, it'll take me just as long to drive to San Diego as it does to get to the other side of town in Los Angeles. Um, we have tons of entertainment here. I mean, this is the entertainment capital of the world. People come here to meet their favorite actor or actress. We've got the Hollywood Bowl. I love concerts there. I love that like I can literally go down the street and walk around Hollywood and there's something happening on Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard. Um, I love that there's a lot of food here, a lot of different types of food. If you live in the Midwest, you don't get nearly as much diversity. Here we've got like all types of food, Italian, Mexican, Asian, like it's everything, Ethiopian. Um, so it's definitely a diverse city. And growing up here, I think everybody is just a little starstruck, because it's the entertainment capital of the world in some ways. It might be changing in the future. Maybe it'll move to a different city. I don't know with what's going on in this country. I hope that it stays here because I like living in LA.
Mhm. Yeah. Although I think Nashville might be in the running for
Yes.
the entertainment hub.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
has the city recovered since the fires?
There are a lot of people struggling right now, and I don't know if the news portrays what it's actually like for certain people. I know there was a lot of coverage in January, and then by February, March, the year just went on. And I think it's difficult because, the people who lost their homes, they're still trying to find housing. A lot of the land in the Palisades and in Altadena, people can't go back there. And so for the past few months, there have been lots of fundraisers and relief efforts, community coming together to raise funds for many of the families that lost their homes. So there's still a lot of work to be done to rebuild, and it's going to take, you know, like 5 years, 10 years just to fully recover from. I mean, this is just my own estimate to fully recover from what happened. We lost historic buildings in the Palisades. We lost historic buildings in Altadena, and you know, a lot of people have left LA. I feel that there's so much that I can do in my city to help. So I think this year there are a lot of musicians banding together to help provide relief for the people who lost their homes. And I'm going to be participating in May. There's a show that we're putting on at this place called Gold Diggers, and my partner and we're going to be performing and raising funds for an organization that um, provides musical instruments to musicians who lost their instruments in the fires. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're doing something to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you believe that, your music can help people?
I think so. I hope it does. I hope that by speaking my own truth, maybe that connects with other people and they feel that they can express themselves in some way. Um, I think music in general is helpful. I mean, that's why we listen to it because we feel that somebody maybe understands something that we're going through.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do you remember like a time when music has helped you when you needed it the most?
I mean, just the other day, I was just feeling down and I was watching, I know this sounds a bit random, but I was watching The Handmaid's Tale. There's like a new episode or a new season that's come out, and I've started the season over from the start. It's a pretty dark show. It's a dystopian society. Um, and a song came on, and it the song is by a band called Cigarettes After Sex, and I don't know why I was drawn to it. There was something about the melody and the lyrics, and it was just a reminder of like, oh, this is why I do music. You know, I perform so much, and oftentimes I struggle with like, getting into the music because I want to entertain people. I want to find something that people will like. And I think what really draws me to music is when I hear a song and the person says something or it's something about the melody or the emotion in the music, I feel like really understood. And so when I heard that song that this band was playing, I just felt like, oh, this is just a reminder of what I'm feeling. I don't feel so alone in my own feelings when I hear a song. There was another song that came on. Um, what was her name? I can't remember the name of the artist, but you don't own me. I'm not something anymore. Yeah, you don't own me. I don't know what I was going through, but when I heard that song, I just felt like, oh, this artist gets me. Yeah. And it was just a reminder of like, this is why I listen to music and why I write music. It's because I think other people feel understood when you're in attunement with your emotions.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
And yeah, there's a form of, I suppose, telepathy that can take place between the performer and the listener, right?
Hmm.
Despite the two parties not being aware of each other.
Yes. I think that kind of reminds me of the scene in The Complete Unknown. Okay, speaking of Bob Dylan, did you watch the movie?
I've heard of it, and I heard that Timothy Chalamet did a pretty great rendition of the Dylan songs.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job. Um, there's a scene at kind of near the end where Dylan he plays electric guitar and he's at the Newport Folk Festival and he's playing and it's kind of like what we're talking about. There's like this telepathic connection, but he was so into his own music. I think when he was playing on stage, like all that anger that he was experiencing, it's like he transferred that to the crowd. And you could tell from like the camera angles when some of the other folk artists were playing and the audience was responding in a certain way, you could see that like connection between the artist and the audience. Like if you're in sync with your music, if you're feeling a certain way, you're going to make your audience feel that way too. So there's something about playing that, the audience can pick up on.
Yeah, of course. No, if you like Bob Dylan movies, I'd recommend this one called Mask and Anonymous. It was directed by Larry Charles, and it stars Bob Dylan himself. He plays
Mm.
a version of Bob Dylan who retired from music in like decades, and he sort of slowly moves his way back into performing. And
Mm.
yeah, it's a rather interesting movie. Uh,
I'll look it up.
and
Thank you.
and yeah, I thought that that moment at Newport when he goes electric, so to speak, and divided people,
Hmm.
it was obviously a statement, and that statement being that Dylan is not going to conform to anyone's ideas about it, who he is. Um,
Yes.
Yeah, because there was a time when he made like protest songs, and people would pigeonhole him as the guy who makes protest music in the
Yes.
vein of like Woody Guthrie or Pete Seeger.
Yes.
But Dylan was not having any of it,
Oh.
and as I've mentioned, he converted to Christianity, and that alienated many of his fan base too, because not many of them were religious, and they were not having the fact that their favorite folk pop music singer became a man of Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. I think that happens a lot. Artists, well, we need to change over time, and we need to form our own identities, and that isn't that doesn't belong to the fans. I think the fans, it's tough because you have to take that risk as an artist that you might divide your fan base, and you don't want to do that, but you don't grow and evolve as an artist unless you pick a lane. And I think part of the courage that it takes is picking something and then sticking to it.
Yes, certainly, and I'm sure it's not it's not the direction that you're going.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, tell me about the upcoming album.
So my upcoming album, there's a title track on it called Queen of the Flowers. And when it comes out, it'll be called Queen of the Flowers. The album will have 12 songs on it. And these songs are about different things, uh, as I mentioned, personal growth, and they're about relationships, just some of the struggles that I was going through in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't want to say too much because I want to keep it a surprise to my fan base, but I will say that the songs are being trickled out at the moment. So the next song that will come out, there'll be a video along with it, and it'll come out in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I have to submit it on CD Baby. I do everything independently as an artist. I was signed to a label for the last year, and I recently became independent again. So doing all of that work, it kind of takes a bit of time to do the promotion and the submitting the music and the packaging of the music. So yeah, the next song will be out really soon.
All right. So will it be the title track itself?
I won't release Queen of the Flowers till probably till the album drops. The next song, I I don't want to say too much about it, but the fans can look forward to it probably in May.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the podcast would come out around early May. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be the right time.
Yeah.
And I certainly look forward to the album, and I hopefully will have you on the show once again to discuss it.
Yeah. I would love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
finally, what does music mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Can you elaborate a little bit on the question?
So it's open to interpretation, so you're welcome to answer it whichever way you like.
Music has great meaning to me. I would say that it gives me purpose in life, and I feel that it's an important part of our mental health, and that we should value it. It's very easy to take it for granted because we have Spotify, we have all these free streaming services, we have AI now. And for me, I think music is a vessel to tell personal stories and relate to people. And it's not just a product to be consumed. Art is sharing wisdom, and it's um, any form of it is sharing wisdom with the world. And we must do our best to really value it. And that can look like many different ways. The best way to support somebody is I think it's just encouraging people to keep making music and to keep creating because without it, I mean, the world would be bleak. We would just be machines working our jobs. And, I think what makes us human is that expression of emotion. So, yes, music means a lot to me because it allows not only myself, but other people to experience and express themselves as well.
Okay. I think that's a wonderful note to end the episode on. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Katie Ferrara, for joining the show.
Thank you, Chung.